It gives people that type of energy, that type of power.
Hi YouTube family, today I want to talk to you about Fyre Festival. This is an event that happened back in 2017, so not too long ago, and the reason I want to talk about this is you watch these commercials that they did for Fyre Festival and you would think this is going to be the most amazing thing ever. So it's sort of like a buyer beware situation where, you know, advertisers do an amazing job putting together something that looks just beautiful and outrageously incredible, and you buy into it only to find out that it's not quite exactly what they promised. And that's what happened with Fyre Festival. Netflix and Hulu both released documentaries about the disaster that is known as Fyre Festival. But when you watch a little clip of that advertisement I just showed you, you would think this was going to be an incredible festival. This is the brainchild of a man named Billy McFarland. And if you have not heard about this, the reason I want to talk about this is because now it has been completely exposed to show where everything went wrong with this festival. And you could blame it on the weather, you can blame it on certain logistics, you can blame it on certain plans that didn't quite fall through or make it through, right? But I think the biggest blame for the disaster was a narcissist was leading it. I know that I'm throwing this term around, and some people who are new to my channel may not understand that narcissism, yes, it's thrown around a lot, but there are cases that show you the extreme characteristics of what narcissistic behavior looks like. And the reason I want to talk about this is because Billy McFarland, yes, he was an out-of-the-box thinker, he was inspired, he was positive and optimistic, and he had huge ideas. He's a big idea guy, which of course we think this is wonderful. We love people like this. We want people like this in our life. We want people like this leading businesses. You know, they're the big entrepreneurs, and that's how a lot of his supporters, his millionaire supporters and mentors, saw him. They saw him as this, you know, young 25-year-old out of the box, huge up and coming entrepreneur who had vision. And there's that's great. But the narcissism comes in when that person takes incredible risks with their family or their friends' money, and they take advantage of their connection with people who have money or resources that they need. They will butter you up and they will scam you out of millions of dollars, and that unfortunately is what happened to the people who were closest to Billy McFarland. That's how I have seen this whole story unravel. If you watch the documentaries, I only saw the one that was on Netflix, and they did, I thought, a very good coverage of what happened in that entire fiasco. I would highly recommend you watch one or the other. I think that the Netflix one got higher ratings, and I have not seen the Hulu one, but anyway, if you watch any of the documentaries, any of the news that's been out there about Billy McFarland, you will be blown away by what happened and the disaster that followed him. But the biggest thing that I saw is that what narcissists will do, like there were comparisons to what he did and what narcissists do. And what they do is they give you this grandiose idea, dream that they have. They give you this image in their mind of what luxury and beauty and just the fairy tale that you can have. Like Billy McFarland was good at that. He was good at giving people vision, right? But the problem is he didn't have anything to substantiate that vision. He did not have the skills. He did not have the talent. He did not have the ability to do what his vision was telling him. And that's great to have dreamers. I love dreamers. I love having people who are dreamers in my life because they get me to push myself a little farther, get me to think bigger, right? And that's wonderful. But when a narcissist tries to pull you into their dream, their vision, they will lie to you. They will lie to you about what they have that can get you to that vision. And to people who are new to my channel, that's called future faking. They will fake a future with you. People who end up in a relationship, a romantic relationship with them, will be told, I'm going to buy you this big house. We're going to move to the coast. We're going to have a house on the beach. We're going to go on these incredible vacations. We're going to be sipping champagne, you and I, this, the whole 9 yards, everything you want to hear from this person. If it's a woman, she'll tell you all the amazing things that she's going to do for you and how incredible you guys will be together. And anyway, it's the whole Billy McFarland lie and promises. And you might think, well, this guy was trying, right? Okay, so this narcissist actually believed so much in his lie that he thought it could come true. And a lot of narcissists are like that, because they feel, why wouldn't this come true? This is me. I am blessed. I am, I'm walking around with all this luck. I'm the luckiest person in the world. I deserve, I'm entitled. So they think that if I trust and believe in myself, all this goodness is going to come to me. And I think Billy McFarland is kind of like that, where he believed that he could actually pull off putting together this giant festival that everybody in the industry is telling him it's going to take at least a year to do. And he's trying to pull it together within a couple of months. I think maybe he might have started it like 4 or 6 months, but then actually hitting the ground with this only a couple of months away from the actual festival. I mean, the planning was incredibly poor. The foresight, incredibly poor. The bragging, the over promises, that's what he did. He just way over promised everything. And that's what narcissists do. They will way over promise everything. So you guys, what happened is he makes these videos where you think, oh, this is so beautiful. He gives you this vision of supermodels on the beach and jet skis and speedboats and, this luxurious lifestyle that you can have for a weekend that ranges from $1,000 to $12,000. He was going to fly people in on a jet. He was going to feed them gourmet food. There were going to be incredible bands that were going to be there. There's going to be alcohol flowing, food flowing, people flowing, these clear beaches, clear water beaches, white sands, the whole 9 yards. You think, oh, that would be so great. And in concept, yeah, that would be great. But in reality, not once did he think about, reality, right? Waste management. Having thousands of people together in a spot where there's hardly any electricity, there are no bathrooms, there's no sewage system. You're going to have to house these people, and they're not just orderly, competent, well-behaved people. This is going to be drunk, partying, out-of-control people. And this is the vision you think, oh, I'm going to go to this place and it's going to look this beautiful. It's just this beautiful dream. And that's exactly what narcissists do. They sell you on a dream. And they're not even capable of making this dream come true. They might actually be so deluded themselves to think that all I have to do is snap my fingers and this will happen. Actually, I have a story to tell you. My husband told me that when he was a kid, little boy, he was learning how to tie his shoes, and he would watch people, and it would look like they just wave their hands over their shoelaces, and voila, the shoelaces come together in a nice bow, and they're tied. So he thought all he had to do was wave his hands over his shoelaces, and the shoelaces would be tied. And I think a lot of narcissists believe this too. They think well, what's so hard about putting together a concert? I've been to a concert. I think all they do is they wave their hands together and suddenly this whole concert comes together. And that's where narcissists stay in this fantasy world that they build for themselves, where everything is perfect and everything is luxurious. And so long as people are willing to pay for that fantasy world for them, they live there. And he had that. He had people who were paying into his fantasy world, his millionaire investors who are willing to put up so much money so he can have this facade of a beautiful life. But this is what it really is when you open your eyes. This is what it really looks like when you wake up the next morning, or when the light comes on, or when the sun comes up, right? This is what you're left with, this disaster. That you're wondering, wait a minute, this is not that beautiful white sand beach with a gorgeous pier that I can dangle my feet off of and dive into these beautiful calm waters. You see a wreck. That's the life of a narcissist. If you pull the curtain back, you will see that their life is actually a total wreck. And this is what they are actually promising you. And they're covering it up with this image of beauty, and they get you to buy into it because they're so charismatic. I mean, this guy, Billy, was so charismatic that he was able to talk one of his very closest friends, I believe, is this man named Andy King, who I think is a pretty rich guy, pretty well connected. I don't know his whole background, but he looked at Billy as his what do you call that, protege. He felt that Billy McFarland was going to go really far, and he even encouraged people to invest in Billy because he believed that much in him. Well, Billy got Andy King to agree to prostitute himself to a customs official in the Bahamas in order to release water bottles from customs. And this guy, Andy, you watch the Netflix documentary, and you'll see, like, this guy is such a nice guy. He really, he's such a loyal friend. He's such a good friend. But listen, friends do not ask friends to prostitute themselves, okay? But narcissists will. And the sad thing, I think, at the end of all of this, and I don't know if this is true anymore since the filming of this, but it turned out that Andy King was still friends with Billy after all of that. Was still friends with this guy and still believed in him. I mean, that's how good narcissists are. And a lot of you who have been taken over or your mind's been taken over by narcissists, you want to go back to that vomit. You want to go back because you think you still believe in the dream and you believe in their charisma. But this is where you're going to end up. You're not going to end up in some beautiful villa that Billy's, promised these people who are willing to pay thousands of dollars for. Villas with these incredibly beautiful beds and fireplace and 3-bedroom, 1-bath, whatever. He was promising these things. He also promised these luxury tents. And guess what? These are what they ended up with. FEMA tents that were left over after a hurricane in the Bahamas. This is what they were left with. And this is what you will be left with. This is what your life will look like. And you're looking around and you're feeling, well, this isn't the luxurious life that I thought I was going to have. But you so bought into that vision. You so bought into that dream and the optimism and the energy that the narcissist has sold you on, that you think, okay, this must be just a blip. I'll just keep hanging in there for a little while longer, and then things are bound to get better. And unfortunately for a lot of people during the entire setup of this festival, the laborers, they never got paid. Now I think that they're beginning to get paid because there's a GoFundMe site now for them, and and things are working out finally, thank goodness. And because of these documentaries, people are so upset at what happened, and the victims of this, meaning the laborers in the Bahamas, are now being reimbursed, thank goodness. But this is what I mean. Narcissists are so good at manipulation that they are able to get you into this disaster zone in your life, and then they leave you. This is another picture of what his participants got. This is a gourmet meal. Sliced bread and cheese. So the cheese sandwich is sort of like the new symbol for Fyre Festival. It's so sad. This is what they got on a styrofoam container. So, I mean, we have to be so careful about falling in with narcissists and falling into their fantasy life, because it is not a fantasy. Well, actually, it's a fantasy, right? It's a dream, but it's not going to be a dream come true. It's going to be a disaster. And you look around and you see the wreckage in your life, and you're going to wonder, how did I end up here? Well, because of people like Billy McFarland. And the sad thing is, as I'm watching the documentary, I actually like the guy. He seems really positive and upbeat. But in the end, this is how people end up. Everybody who bought into his lies just were deflated and were traumatized, and some of them were able to make light of it. You know, they made jokes of it and they laugh about it. And that's why I'm the way I am too, because when disaster hits you in your life, what can you do? You can cry and go under a rock, and that's okay to do for a while. But then you gotta laugh about it because it's just such insanity. And just thank God that you survived, okay? You survived. You came out of it. You're gonna be okay. You maybe have been left in a disastrous area, but you can clean up and you can move on. So YouTube family, that's what I wish for you. I hope that you can move on. I hope you see that this exists everywhere in the world, people like this, but you can survive it and you can watch out for it and become wiser. So if you like this video, please subscribe, please like it, and please share it. And I hope to see you soon.